And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of You Get What You Get. I'm Rickey Hampton with my great friends Tree McDougal and Tim Turner coming to you on a Tuesday evening. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope the week has gotten off to a great start. It's good to see you two people here tonight. We got a this show, got a lot to talk about tonight. We'll be joined later in the hour by our great friend Matt Calvin, former NBA coach and ABA All Star Hall of Fame finalist. Um, Take a look back at the NBA playoffs that took place over the last 2 weeks. But good evening to you two. How's everybody?
I'm well. Happy belated birthday to you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, and Tim, welcome back from your excursion. I'm
Thank
good.
you. And Ricky, yeah, happy belated birthday. I'm glad to see that you made it another year. I'm glad to see that, brother.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we've been admiring Tim's background and just a beautiful picture back there by the Eric Vaughns.
Barnes, yes.
That Tim is intentionally messing up now. The former Cleveland Brown. What I think he was a wide receiver with Cleveland, right?
I think you're right. He was. He had just as productive a career after sports than he did as an athlete.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of looking at him because you know what I used to get Barnes and Bernie Casey kind of mixed up because Bernie Casey was the wide receiver for the LA Rams,
right?
And the actor. So yeah, every now and then I would get them. He had a very good career as an actor.
He definitely did.
Yeah. So those you talk about. We always talk about back in the day. They were definitely back in the day, and actually Eric just passed away in 22 in 2022 at the age of 86. Yeah.
Very talented. Very talented.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at Barnes. Like he played like for forever in the NFL. He played with Baltimore in the AFL, the Titans of New York, AFL, which became I think the Jets.
Yeah.
The Chargers, the Broncos, then went to the CFL, played for Saskatchewan Roughriders, which is not to be confused with the Ottawa's old team used to be the Rough Riders. Rough, one word, Riders, two words. Saskatchewan had Rough Riders, one word. They only had like 6 teams up there, but they had to double up on one for some reason.
I said he was a wide receiver. He was a DB.
There you go. DB.
He was a DB, 6-time Pro Bowler, one-time All Pro, and he would have gone up against Bernie Casey in some of those matchups.
Yeah.
Too over the years. So you always learn something hanging around Tim Turner. You get this here. We get a little art. And,
we learned something.
Yeah. All of it's not all games. Anyway, let's move on. We are really digressing here.
Yeah. Well, we can start. I really would like to start about with the NBA Finals and just stuff that's not basketball. I started not to watch Game 7 at all.
Same here.
Stephen A. Smith, how he opened the broadcast for ESPN with an epic rant of screaming and ignorance. Screaming about Game 7, it's all important and blah blah blah. He was, and this is hard for me to say because it's like he was over the top.
Wow.
If that's possible for him to be
over the Stephen top. A was just being Stephen A, but it was more Stephen A than Stephen A.
It was way too much. It was way too much.
Now, You know what? I saw that you sent that in on the rundown of the show. To be honest with you, Tim, I didn't even look it up because I figured it's the same old,
No.
but this is even more so.
I mean, he's trying to sell Game 7. Why do you have to sell Game 7? It's Game 7.
Right.
And he just went too over the top. And I thought it was just me alone, but they were like, everybody was like pretty much sick of it. And I tell you what, when the clock struck triple zeros, all I could think about was Shaq, Ernie, Kenny, and Charles.
Yeah.
They'll do a whole lot better than whatever they had out there. That stuff that that's ESPN and ABC put out there, because that is straight up trash. They've never been able to match the chemistry of the folks at TNT. They finally realized that, and they need to go ahead and take their former show to a farm upstate New York.
Yeah, I think
I'm actually trying to find it right now. I can't find it.
Yeah, I think the TNT, show with Shaq and Ernie, everybody, that was more fun.
Yes.
And this is just
contrived.
Yeah, anger and yelling and just like, that's not fun. That's not fun.
You can't be that mad about everything.
Right.
It can if that's your shtick. Yes, you can be.
I mean, if I'm being paid $10 million a year, I will scream till the cows come home. Right. And that's essentially what's going on here. It's like they're paying me to scream.
Yeah.
And we're talking about it, and people are talking about it. So
but that stuff is just beyond the pale. And just the decisions ESPN has made about the NBA have been mystifying, because I have nothing against Richardson and Doris Burke and Breen, but when they had Van Gundy and Jackson and Breen, that was perfect. That was perfect. And they messed it up with a cost-cutting thing or whatever they were doing. They just messed up their whole NBA product. And it has been a disaster forever and a day. And that has been really sad, because it ruined what could be otherwise would have been a great 7-game series. Just anything that they do in basketball, they don't do it well at all.
But how is that impacting them? They haven't changed anything.
No, right? Because where else you gonna go? We got Game 7. You gonna watch what? That Game 7 was the most watched NBA game in 6 years. Yeah. So most people around the globe saw that screaming foolishness, and everybody still hung in there. They looked past it. They held their nose.
What they probably did, if they were like me, they waited for all that to end and waited for tip-off. Which is
pretty much what I do is I hit that little circle on the remote and flip to another channel, to a movie, a Titanic or anything, and then when I try to count and then hope it's over, and then come back and he still got his mouth open, and then I have to flip back over again to another thing. I was flipping between the baseball and the basketball. I think was what's going on the Sunday night game.
But again, people are still talking about it, and so it still draws attention to it. I mean, we're talking about it, so
mission accomplished, right?
Yeah, mission accomplished.
Yeah,
whether we like it or not.
But what's the guy, Bob Meyer, who was the former GM of Golden State, and at one point when Smith was in one of his rants, he said something to the effect that just because you yell it does not make it right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. There you go. It's not the loudest voice that wins the argument. It's the one that has a really strong one. But it's
I can't find it here.
Right.
How long did it go on, Tim?
Too long. They
went on for how long? Too long.
Yes. About 3 minutes or more. And just I wished I could have been inside the heads of Malika and Ryan. And I don't know if Perk even registered with him.
Yeah.
You don't think it registered for him? Is that what you said? You don't think it registered for him?
I don't think so. I don't know if anybody's ever home with Perk.
He said he was. Stephen A. said he was annoyed by Perkins. So You don't think they caught that piece of it?
He might have caught a piece of that, but it's.
But one thing you said that game was the most watched game in 6 years, but the series overall was the least watched series since 21.
Right.
So
you don't want to watch. Well, Game 7s draw everybody. Just like I said, the Stanley Cup I think went 7. Congrats to the Florida Panthers for their back-to-back wins in the NHL. But Game 7s draw you in. You want to see what's going on, and then but then they ruin it with this other stuff. It's not basketball. It's not insightful. You resent it to a degree because you're like, why am I being subjected to this?
But you have the option to, as you did, not watch.
That's right. There's the option. I could imagine there are probably any number of people that saw that screaming and said, "Oh man, let me watch HGTV."
It's two people. When I see them on TV, I automatically hit mute or change the channel. We just talked about one, and I don't even have to tell you who the other one is. He resides in Washington, D.C. these days.
Okay.
Because I know if his mouth is moving, he's lying. So why do I want to hear him?
Yeah, it's just a lot of yelling and screaming these days, and so we don't want that.
No, we don't want. And the grammarians of the world, when he gave the speech the other night, that said it was completely destroyed. He said it was completely destroyed. Can you partially destroy something?
Right.
Can you nudge destroy it? So you're lying when you got to try to accent it with completely destroyed.
Yeah.
And then you find out today the intelligence briefing is, they only set their nuclear capabilities back like 6 months.
Yeah.
all of that for 6 months.
Yeah. And then you tell me they don't know what the F they're doing. I'm thinking,
right.
Dude,
imagine if somebody who wore a tan suit had used that kind of language leading up to something. Yes, imagine that one. Imagine.
We can imagine.
The man in the tan suit had his daughters grifting millions of dollars while in office. Imagine that.
It's shameful, man. It is shameful.
So
this is you get what you get. So we diverted from sports.
But that's where we are. We got hey, before we get to this, because we're going to talk a lot of basketball tonight. What about Cal Raleigh, man? What is this guy eating for breakfast?
Where did he come from?
Every morning.
I mean,
I've heard of him before. He had 34 home runs one year.
He's got 32 right now at the halfway point. At the halfway point, and I think it's like the second fastest to 30, something like that. I think Barry Bonds in his year that he hit 70. I think he had more at the All-Star break. But my goodness, that's a season for some people. I think right now he has more home runs than the entire Braves squad because they're not hitting the ball at the park at all this year. So this cat here deserves every accolade that he gets.
I mean, he just
mashed that.
It was a terrible pitch, but
those
are the ones you hit out, right? You don't miss them.
I just missed it. Amazed by
this power.
Wow.
And see, there's going to be trouble again. See,
the record for homers by catcher is 48
for the season.
For
48. Good. Yeah. He'll have it by 1st of August.
How many does he have now?
Yes, 32 now.
32 for catcher.
For catcher, that's tremendous.
Yes.
That is just true. I remember when Johnny Bench hit 40, I was a kid back in the day, when they really had quality pitching in Major League Baseball. And that was just, everybody was just stunned by that. This dude's going to hit 50 home runs at least this year. So, well, props to him.
I think it's just amazing what he's doing. I'm pulling for him to do whatever to keep it up, because you want these different stories, because it seems like everybody gets fixated on anything that happens in New York. I'm glad both their teams are stinking. And as it is right now, the Atlanta Braves have pulled ahead. They messed up and went to the bullpen in New York, which is like the 23rd ranked bullpen in baseball. They were winning 3-1. Now it's 5-3 Atlanta. So I cannot wait to hear the radio station tonight in New York again as they struggle with the Braves, just mollywhopping them again.
It's just so funny to see the Braves playing bad baseball.
But yeah,
they've been good for 25 years now.
They've been excellent.
Basically, right?
Pardon me?
Basically, they have been good for 25 years.
Yeah, I think like maybe from the 90s, in 90,
30? Yeah.
So they've been pretty much consistent. That's one thing. They just haven't won it. Making the World Series is one thing, but, having everybody else come up there and beat you in it is another. The Blue Jays, the Yankees, it's a painful thing to watch.
It makes me sad thinking about it.
And I tell you, I feel so bad for Halliburton of the Pacers being that close and going down. I know we're going to talk about that. That's been the conversation all week, because you never know if you're going to get back there.
Well, they said too, at least not sure he'd play next season either, right?
Well, and that's the deal. It's the East is now wide open. Milwaukee's hampered because Dame Lillard, who wears number 0 and has a torn Achilles, is out. Boston, with Jason Tatum, wears number 0, torn Achilles. He's going to be out next year. And Halliburton, wearing number 0, has a torn Achilles and will miss next year. So
nobody wants that 0.
Is there anybody getting drafted tomorrow night? Don't get
want that.
And there were a total of 8 guys this year that went down with a
torn Achilles.
Yeah, I mean, and these are big name guys, but you have some other guys didn't have carry their star power. And a couple of questions I have for Mac in terms of the equipment you're wearing. Is there anything that can be done on the show I do with Paul Mokeski? Mo was talking about looking at wearing high top shoes to try to offer some kind of support to players.
You know what? I saw somebody make a reference to that online about wear the high top shoes, and I just thought maybe it's just a fashion thing, but that may be on to something on that.
Yeah, I know every NBA training staff ought to be meeting, taking this time during the off season to explore what we can do in our training or whatever to try to alleviate these injuries. Of course, they're going to happen. And another conversation I want to get into with Mac, who should be joining us shortly. Some people saying, well, they shouldn't have played him.
I was getting ready to ask that. He was already injured, so that injury didn't lead to an Achilles.
It's game 7, man.
Yeah.
Of course, if if he plays, it's going to tear his ACL. Well, don't play him, obviously.
But the thing is, when do you not play him? I mean, this is game 7. If if they can walk, they're going to be out there. They're going to try to be out there.
Yeah.
They're thinking about the moment, not necessarily thinking about the long term, right? So
you're right. They don't think about what's down the road. I mean, he was banged up and went out with injuries in the series before this.
Mm-hmm.
So they gave him a couple of days rest, but these soft tissue things, or nothing. You have to have total rest for extended periods of time.
True. Absolutely.
I mean, every time these guys at, football, basketball, whatever the sport, every time you step out there, you're risking getting injured. I mean, if you're never going to play a guy, I mean, why you even sign him, right? So
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
You try to figure that one out. You can't coddle these kids. You got to let them, and they know that they should know their bodies better than anybody else.
But he probably still wanted to play. Wouldn't that be his decision?
I'm quite sure it is. You can't make somebody, not play unless you have like that kind of a pull. I think of baseball when Dave Johnson was the manager of the Washington Nationals. Steven Strasburg, he would not let him pitch. So he kind of coddled him and had it on a pitch count. He eventually, when he got to another manager, he eventually blew out his arm. But it was the idea. Now they let the guy do what he's gonna do. But when you're young, you have to really give in to what the other folks are saying. They put you on the pitch count or whatever. I don't know what became magical about 100 pitches and guys have to come out. I've seen stories where Nolan Ryan threw complete games with like 150 pitches and that kind of stuff. And that guy's arm never was bad. I've seen him throw out first pitches right now. He's going to get you.
You threw 150 pitches.
Oh, yeah, it was. It was like,
I believe it. Yeah.
It was one night we had one of my baseball teammates at Morehouse was on the grounds crew at the stadium, and we got tickets to watch the Astros and Braves, and we had tickets behind home plate, and Ryan was pitching, and that was then at that point there I knew what I would never advance to Morehouse College in baseball. The old man was throwing nothing but heat, and I was like, no way in the world I'm hitting any of that. So.
And that's when your career ended in baseball?
No, that's what my aspirations of advancing higher than the SIAC.
Okay.
Seeing somebody with, that dude right there, and he was like old, all right? He was old, and he was still throwing that heat up in there. So that was a good look.
I think we have our guest here. Let's see. Matt Calvin.
Hey, Ricky.
Hey.
How are you? I got your wonderful lady here. By the time you add some flavor to your
How you doing, Mac? Welcome to You Get What You Get. We cannot see you for some reason, but we're hearing you loud and clear.
Hey, I'm not technical at all, brother, so let me see.
All right, here we go.
You got me?
That's a start. See a finger.
We see your finger here.
We see the drone.
Hey, I don't know, man. I'm trying to do the right.
We lost him. Come back to us.
Mac, you did not do the right thing on that one.
Did not do it. Come back to us. Okay.
Did you guys see the little note I sent you about St. Augustine and that athletic program?
It wouldn't open up for me.
Yeah, that's right. It wouldn't open up for me. What was it?
They are now without a conference.
Who's that?
Yeah.
St. Aug. They got kicked out of the. I don't know.
SIAC. They were in the SIAC.
They were. They're having the accreditation problems, and
right.
They were. I guess just not going to be let back into the conference.
That's unfortunate.
I remember the Morehouse played them in a game after the pandemic in Atlanta, and the size of their band, the size of their horn section was larger than Morehouse's band. They had a massive band there in Lakewood Stadium, and they were blowing everybody out. They were really outstanding. And they also, won the Battle of the Bands and took home the W too.
I was going to ask if they win the game. Yeah.
Oh, yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Well, that the CIAA suspended them last year for athletics because of their failure with their accreditations and all of that. They failed to meet conference compliance requirements, and they are still without a home. And that was a excellent athletic program for a while.
Right.
I just don't understand what's going on there.
Okay, so now I'm having one of my senior moments that was not St. Aug, that was Edward Waters.
Oh, did we lose Ricky? Oh my gosh. Stay with me, Tim. Don't leave me.
Yeah, I'll be here as long as you want me to. I just let you know.
And then you dropped out.
That was it. That was a joke. That was me.
I got you. Welcome back to Ricky. Welcome back.
I don't know what happened.
That's okay. We're
back. The same button that Mac did. Where is he?
Yeah, we got the band back together, but we need Mac back.
Yeah. You guys keep talking.
Yeah, I was going to text him. Have him come back. I'm looking forward to it.
No, it's like it's just waiting. There's a lot of basketball. I'm quite sure he's been keeping up with the draft, because absolutely it's only one person that people are paying. Well, two folks people are paying attention to.
Cooper
Flag. And there's a kid that's from Atlanta that is Ace Bailey, and he has refused to work out for anybody for these pre-draft things. He's refused to do anything pre-draft, which has made him drop some in the draft. He was going to be the number 2 guy behind Flag, but some NBA teams just didn't like the idea that this kid is, saying, you got enough tape on me to draft me. So
who does he? Where did he go to school?
I'm going to check that. I had not heard of him.
I have not heard that name either.
All these guys are freshmen.
Right.
Practically all of these guys are freshmen.
Only school I know he went to was McEachern here in Atlanta. And he's a freshman. He's a 6'10" guy. He was the Georgia State Basketball Player of the Year prior to his freshman year. So it'll be interesting to see what people do with him as the draft is approaching.
Well, who is it unusual? I've never heard. Yeah, to not work out for any teams, and then who's advising him to not? I wonder.
He went to Rutgers. That's what he did, and
so he played with Dylan Hartford then.
Right. And see, every headline I'm looking at from the stories on this kid, it says New York Post, Ace Bailey, the most polarizing player in the NBA draft. They mentioned him that Ace Bailey, Rutgers star expected to slide on draft night. These are the headlines coming into tomorrow night's draft on the kid. So we'll see what's going on. See, Rutgers Bailey shrugs off questions about canceled NBA draft workout. All these stories, none of these things are positive, saying, Ace Bailey saves bus load of kids rolling down a ravine.
Yeah.
I see that. He's in no position to make demands, is what it says on headline.
One thing these guys writing some of this stuff, you gotta be careful, because those narratives get out there very easily.
And you pretty much that there are teams that are feeding these guys stuff.
Right.
There may be folks who have a vested interest in seeing them slide to them. That kind of stuff, where people put some dirt out on them. But this is weird for the NBA to me, but not in the NFL. There'll be kids who know they're going to be first-round picks. Will go to Indianapolis to the combine, let them measure their height and their weight, and then say, see you later. And they'll only work out for their pro days on their college campuses. And where that's scripted, and they were already, they got their own receivers, their own building, the whole 9 yards, very familiar territory, and they'll do that. But they won't work out in Indy against the other top talent. That's really something that's starting to be in vogue now. Like, if you're going to go in the top 3, why work out? What are you going to do to diminish your possibly diminish your stock?
Yeah. Is that just like tradition? And so they're kind of bucking tradition.
Well, in the NBA, this kid is in a big way. It may pay off for him. It may pay off for him. It'll pay off for whatever team gets him where he falls to. Because right now, I mean, he was supposed to go 2, and I see this consensus mock draft is he'll go 5 to Charlotte. So,
but you know the thing about the NBA draft, these guys are so young. You know, Flag is going to play a lot, but a lot of these guys, you know, will just be on the team, be down up with the G League team. You know, very few of these guys will see the floor.
that's true.
The way the league
really
so young, Tree and Tim. I'm looking at what you sent today, consensus mark, top 14. Flag's a freshman, Harper's a freshman, Edgecomb's a freshman, Bailey's a freshman, Johnson's a freshman, Newfall's a freshman, Fear's a freshman, freshman. The first 10, 11, the first 12 picks were freshmen. Colin Murray Boyles, who they have going to the Hawks from South Carolina, is the first sophomore. Which is why we don't know these guys.
Well, they have them.
We don't know them. I've never heard of them. We haven't had a chance to follow them, you know, throughout a basketball career through college.
Yeah, unless they did something in the postseason. Nobody knows. Nobody's watching some of these cats play. But they're saying this year is rich in freshmen and it's rich in European talent. And that's the thing where, you know, you named an American kid. I saw a thing where the Hawks are drafting somebody from France, another French guy. I mean, they hit it really good with Richard last year. Yeah. But you know, they're gonna go European again, supposedly. Yeah. They got a new GM, and I just wonder what his thinking is on how they're going to build a team. Because again, the draft is tomorrow night.
Because once Richard figured out, oh, okay, this is what they're doing. Right. It took him about 20, 25 games or so, didn't it?
Right.
Didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. Before he got comfortable, because I thought it was a total bust. He had the number 1 pick, and the guy wasn't any good. And I just kept thinking, a year too late, because Wembanyama was a year before. And then, you know, a year too soon when you got Flag coming out this year. So that kind of ended up there.
Same thing here with Cade Cunningham. He was okay, but he wasn't nowhere near the player he is now. That jump is just tremendous, and I'm texting with Mac now, trying to get him back in there so we can ask him.
Yeah,
we need him. Questions before the show is over. But what were your thoughts? Did you watch much of the finals, Tree, or were you one of those ones tuned in for Game 7?
No, I watched, but like Tim, I don't know about Game 7. I was like, I don't know. But then, you know, I tuned in and watched, and I dip out for a while. I wasn't sure that OKC would win, based on the other games that I saw where, you know, they might be in the lead, and then the other team would, you know, Pacers would come back and win. So I was happy. You know, I didn't really have a team I was rooting for, but by the end I was rooting for OKC. And I think it's because when that guy's father came out on the court, and Halliburton's father came out, I kind of stopped liking that team at that point. Yeah. I don't know.
And then late in the game, they start showing, it's like, well, here's his mom and what she did for him. I'm like, okay, so why haven't they been mentioning her at all? What's up with that? So
they didn't mention her at all?
They did. I hadn't until the finals.
Oh yeah.
How instrumental she was in helping him along in his career. It was all about Dad with the jersey, and Dad showing out, and Dad.
That was trying to change the narrative, perhaps.
Right. Maybe it was.
And I think one of the reasons the ratings are low overall, we just don't know enough about these teams. I bet you Indiana wasn't on national TV 5 times.
Probably not. Because you're going to see next year, you're going to be, you know.
And OKC's out west.
OKC is going to be the Western team. It's going to be OKC, Houston. Now that they got Durant, the Lakers because LeBron, and you can't escape that. And then Golden State. Those are the 4 teams out west. Well, 5 Denver because you can't forget the Nuggets. Those are the 5 best, and maybe San Antonio because they're building something out there. In the East, you got the Celtics aren't going to be that great, but just because they're the Knicks will be on every time you turn around. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting.
Why would you swing a dead cat?
Because it was killed. The cat got tired of watching Knicks games and it died.
But you understand the business end of that, right?
Yes, I do understand that, which is why when this finals was announced, all the people in New York, were taking all kinds of antidepressants. Because they just figured the ratings were going to be in the tank.
Right.
It has to be Golden State and New York, or the Lakers and Boston.
Celtics, yes.
There's got to be something like that. It can't be Indy versus, it can't be OKC versus Dallas or whatever. We're not in the same conference, but it's got to be a bigger draw. Miami has to be in there. Any large city, because they had no celebrities at this thing.
Right. You didn't have that, did you?
And that's okay. And that's okay.
Well, that's when you're searching for it. I mean, Kristen Chenoweth.
I was going to say they had her.
They had her. She sang the national anthem. She's an OKC person. She's from Oklahoma, so they had one. But Indy had St. Elmo's Steakhouse. That's their star.
I heard that people didn't like Chenoweth's rendition, but I read that.
I heard that as well, but
I heard it. I heard it, and I thought she was fine.
Yeah,
maybe they're used to something more. I don't know what they're used to. I don't know why they would bash our hometown. Well, maybe I don't know who's doing the bashing.
Tried it out, Carl Lewis, in his rendition.
Roseanne Barr.
Roseanne Barr, yeah.
Can't get Maybe they could have just played a recording of Whitney Houston.
No, you can't.
Say what, Ricky?
You can't get much worse than what she did.
Roseanne.
They could have just played the recording of Whitney Houston, though. Would that have been better?
Which is the all-time greatest rendition of the national anthem ever. Yeah. And I didn't know it was taped. I mean, when you start seeing all the backstories and stuff, you're like, man, it was all about America during that time with the Gulf War going on.
Yep. Different now.
Okay, we may be getting
Did you get Mac back?
I'm texting with him right now. But I know we're working on it, and we need to get on into it because we're gonna lose the show, lose time in a bit. But when Indiana looks at this, I mean, that's the worst way ever to lose a game 7. Not only do you lose your game, you lose your best player for the whole next year.
Right.
I mean, that is just a double whammy. And I have that. I'm going to play the video.
I don't think I've seen basketball players cry after a game. It looks like they were all in tears. That struck me.
Yeah.
Well, there was a magical season for
them. Yeah, they were.
And I think that what they showed.
They were invested.
Yeah. They showed Pritchard's mom pushing the cameras away
because my son
was crying and stuff, and you saw these other
kicks it out, Toppin.
See that right there? Here. That's the angle. And when he stayed down, you knew it was trouble.
And you can see the pain.
Well, you can see the explosion.
Right.
And I feel so bad for that kid.
I do too.
And you saw him right there when he did the back step, he ripped it there when it right foot.
Exactly. And this is the point Paul was making last night, guys. You called it a back step, Tim, and Paul called it a false step because you're going back first, then going up.
Right.
And and he was saying, I don't know if it would have made a difference, but maybe if he had high tops on,
right.
he
It
would
would have
have.
stopped. It would have stopped. It wouldn't have gone as far. And maybe they had to do a better job of taping up those ankles.
I was going to say, is it a sneaker? Is it like a
Right there?
something else?
You could see the pop.
Right.
He said no.
And yeah, he couldn't do anything else with that. You see how straight his foot goes right there, like that.
Mm-hmm.
That is right there.
And he knew it was done then.
Yeah.
That's why he goes down.
Mm-hmm.
It was sad, but I will give it to the Pacers. They played their tails off. They made
did.
it. They made it again. I mean, all the guys who were not the stars.
They did.
Came out there. Siakam gave it everything he had, and I'm still trying to figure out what my Hawks did, because last summer, all signs pointed to Siakam coming to Atlanta in a trade. I want to know what happened that he got away, because it was like almost a done deal that he would be a Hawk last year. He played excellently. I mean, the guy's a former champion with the Raptors, and he played like a champion. Absolutely.
And I tell you, and
there's his dad.
Yeah, and you got to tip your hat to T.J. McConnell too.
Right.
That dude was balling, man.
He was an irritant. When at one point he scored 12 straight points. I mean,
you're absolutely right. He was an irritant. He was a ball. But even he, as well as he playing, and our friend Coach Ray Scott always talks about guys that have a clock on them. He says you can't. He was, when Ish Smith was here in Detroit. Tree, I don't know if you're familiar with Ish, a journeyman point guard, played 10, 12 years in the NBA. A very good player if you played him 18 minutes. But if you play him 19 minutes, he turns worst player in the NBA.
What happens? I'm sorry, what was that? If you play 19, what happens?
Whatever it is, they run out of gas.
Oh, okay.
You can't hide their deficiencies. Because Ish was a lot like McConnell, played with a lot of energy. But after a while, you understand why he only plays 18 minutes a game.
But it was nice that on the flip side, thinking about OKC, it was nice that Shea got the MVP award. He had gotten let's say it was like the fifth person to get the
scoring title
and the MVP and the same year.
Yeah.
The fifth person, yeah. The other person I liked a lot was Jalen.
Yeah, very unassuming kid.
Yeah.
And this guy's a kid. He's 23 years old.
No, when I think about it.
They are kids out there, Tree.
Yeah.
And also, OKC was a fun team to me because they were just, like I said, they were kids. They had a lot of respect for their opponent. And athletes have that. When Halliburton went down, nobody was happy about that.
No.
I mean, because
they played happy. I think. Yeah, I felt like they played happy. I mean, they played hard, but they seemed. What I also have noticed, how they shared the ball, right? Yeah. And so Shea didn't have to make all the shots. If he couldn't get it, he'd pass it.
Yeah.
Some players I've seen that they've got to make the shot, and so I did like that about
very unselfish team.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very unselfish team. So props to them, man. And the guy, their big guy.
Oh yeah.
Holmgren,
yes.
Who's 7'3", about 150 pounds. But that dude, I mean, he gets pushed all over the place, but he does not back down. I mean, he keeps fighting and fighting, and his team, you can tell he has the respect of their teammates. Because that's one thing I can tell you. At that level, your teammates, if you aren't giving everything, you don't have to worry about the coach holding you accountable. Because on good teams, your teammates will hold you accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They talked about how they liked each other. Just how they enjoyed and they hung out and watched movies and other stuff. And maybe other players do it too. But I think one, because they're young, they're around there. I guess, they're just not teammates. They appear to be friends. And seem like they enjoyed time together is basically what I heard. So
And you were talking about Shea. I got some
Mhm.
video of him. And this was not actually, this game 7 was not his best.
10-2.
He did not shoot the ball well the other night. I think he was 8 of 27 or something. But he made some great passes.
Yes, he did.
Got his, he made his teammates better with his passing
Mm-hmm.
and his leadership, and a very deserving MVP. But even at the MVP, he shouted out his teammate Jalen Williams.
Mm-hmm. Said I shared that with him. Yeah.
And I'm like, that is so cool. We're having trouble getting Mac here. We're just having all kind of technical difficulties.
I think Tim had to step away for a moment, so I hope he may join us again. But yeah, to your point, how unselfish they are as a team, and just. But I was excited for them, and I think the more I watched the series, the more I started rooting for OKC.
They had a thing where they're talking about how subdued their celebration was, and one of the players said, "Well, I think I'm the only one on the team that's old enough to drink." So, yeah, that was gives you an idea. They think about the dynasty that OKC is going to be, because they have this really young core of players. People are signed; they're not going to go anywhere. And from past deals and everything, they have just a boatload of first round draft pick capital. They have really good draft capital, not draft picks, but they have so many things, so many assets that they could use to even strengthen their team and make it even better going forward. So it's nothing but blue sky for the Thunder going forward. They're going to be good for a long time, but at the same time, one guy I don't even like to quote, because I don't. Michael Wilbon is the guy who made a really great point when somebody asked him, "Is this the beginning of a dynasty at OKC?" And he said no immediately. And I'm going, why? For once, somebody's not jumping on the hype to say a team that's young that wins is dynastic. And he made the point.
Mm-hmm.
People were saying the same thing about the Celtics last year, and Jason Tatum got hurt.
Yeah.
So much for that talk.
I don't know if I see them as a dynasty yet. I don't know. I kind of agree with Wilborn in that, but
yeah, he's right. And I think you're right to the point too, that you don't, just injury away.
Right. That's the thing. And I just left trying to get Mac Calvin on. I told him if we could just get his voice back, that would be fine.
I'm glad you guys both came back, because I don't know if I could carry this by myself.
You could.
I'll just be like, oh well.
Jump to the very last story on the page, because that was your suggestion.
The pillow fight.
Competitive pillow fighting.
Ah, yes.
Oh yeah. My goodness! Yes.
Did you know that was a thing?
I didn't know it, but when I saw the video of it, I'm like, these people here don't have enough to do.
I mean, everybody is skilled at something, Tim. Everybody can't play basketball or baseball or break dance or whatever that thing is, but you can do a hell of a fight.
I
Is
can
there
see
money
that.
involved?
I was thinking of dodgeball, how they did, the movie, the dodgeball, and how that became a big serious thing. And they have competitive dodgeball as well, which is just, anybody, any sport, they're going to have some sort of league for it.
I was looking at the ninja, that show where people are like doing obstacle courses, I guess some kind of ninja show. And I looked at Reg and said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to start training.
And Reg said,
I don't think so. He didn't say that. In my head, I was like, I could do that if I trained for it.
Oh, I'm quite
too
sure.
late? Are you trying to say it's too late?
It's never too late to train. It's never too late to train.
Hmm.
It depends on the level of what you want to put into it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the pillow fighting video up here, guys.
I hope you do. Or Tim, grab that pillow behind you and show us how it works.
I mean,
If I know,
talk
I
about
would get
it.
one.
We mentioned it last week. Somebody's betting on this, right?
Oh, they are.
No,
They are.
really?
There's some hardcore bettors out there because some people gamble for a living. So you have to just, have to watch out for that stuff.
Gambling on pillow fighting?
Oh, it could be. If they're doing it for a living. So, hey.
Okay, I will have it in just a second here.
Cool.
My pillow guy, he probably want to get in on that because I understand he lost the judgment.
Hold on,
You gotta bring that up, Tim.
Well, hey.
Right. I mean, I get it.
Yeah. He's due.
He's due.
Yeah.
ESPN Pillow Fighting Championship here. Are you
you
guys getting this?
Yes. Ring and everything. Float like a butterfly, sting like a beauty rest.
How do you train for this?
Hey, they should be able to get some of this sleep magic. Look at this, the Joker in there.
The Joker versus the guy that coined the phrase paper or plastic.
How do you refer? And they've got to refer. How do you refer?
Exactly.
That? What are the rules of engagement?
He's like, okay, your pillow has nickels in it. That's a foul.
Oh, look at a spin
It
move
looks
right
like
there.
it looks like the spin move is the most effective.
Yeah, I like the spin. What? I love it. I love the spin move. Sure. Oh, like a jump.
This dude is kicking his butt, man.
Bobbing and weaving. I mean, what's in the?
Is there ever a knockout? And if the person gets knocked out, you lay the pillow under their head when they get knocked out. Is that?
I mean,
is that
how do you hold on to it for so long? Is it like is there something around their wrist? I can't determine that.
I got nice crowds there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's mighty dark in the background after that. I have everybody sitting in the first
maybe 2 or 3 rows is what you're saying. What? Who's the winner?
Dude raised his hand like he won. How do you win? Is it like close to the head?
I got to do more research on it. But I saw that and I thought maybe you guys were already aware of competitive pillow fighting.
No. And it's,
it's just the world we live in, y'all.
I'm telling you.
I could do that. I could probably do that.
I wonder what kind of parade you throw for the champion.
Feathers?
And do they have to cordon off the streets downtown for that kind of stuff?
Maybe like feathers from a pillow. Throw that instead of confetti, maybe.
MVP? I don't know.
That's weird. I don't know, Tia. Sponsored by Serta Sleeper.
That's what I'm saying. I'm with it. I'm with it on that.
Or some mattress company. It might be already sponsored by someone.
Well, I want you guys, when we're back on, tell me how many of the guys that went in the first round of the draft that you knew of.
I can tell you only one. And now 2. Unless you named the other guy. What was his name?
Ace Bailey.
Ace Bailey.
Ace Bailey and
all I know is Cooper Flag.
Man,
the conspiracy behind that, Dallas lost its superstar, so we got to hook them up. It's like the Patrick Ewing story back in the day, right?
I don't know what's the Patrick Ewing story?
Oh, back in the day, there was they had a tumbler.
Wait. We need like something we're getting ready to do a back in the day. We need some kind of graphic back in the day, but go ahead.
Get some of that Twilight Zone thing spinning around.
Mm-hmm. So back in the day, go on. That's what you
NBA was the Knicks. New York needed a really great basketball player just to make NBA relevant in New York again. So they had these envelopes in a barrel, and supposedly the number one pick with the Knicks envelope was supposedly frozen. So to the touch, you would know not to pick that one until the last one. It wasn't like it is now where they got ping pong balls and the whole 9 yards or whatever. But supposedly they had a frozen envelope.
And then they have one of the Big 8 accounting firms strut out there. It's been under our protection.
That kind of stuff,
I remember seeing that, but I don't remember about a frozen envelope.
Yeah, the envelope was supposedly frozen where you could touch it and say, okay, yeah, this is the Knicks. We'll leave it alone. Okay, Sacramento, we'll take you. Houston, Atlanta, you guys get the rest. Whatever.
My question is to Steve Pickle, the coach at Pickell at Rutgers. You had 2 of the top 5 picks in the draft last year, dude.
And you did nothing with them.
You couldn't make the tournament. I think if I'm the AD, I'm calling him in the office.
Well, that's the thing that people were saying about Dale Brown. I mean, you had Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, Chris Jackson, and Shaq on the same squad, and you didn't win.
You know what they were? They were 15-17.
Rutgers was last year?
They were 15-17, 8-12 in conference. Now, the Big Ten was good in basketball last year. But, bro, you got 2 of the top 5 players in the draft.
It's the same argument they had with Calipari. Cal has great players in Kentucky for a year.
Right.
And they're in the NBA. Because who was it? Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Shea went to Kentucky. Yeah.
He went to Kentucky. I think he was a one and done. I mean, all these kids are. De'Aaron Fox over with San Antonio now was a one and done. It's just heck. Kyrie Irving played 3 games at North Carolina before he broke a hand. At Duke before he broke a finger, and was gone.
Is there any need for them to go to college now? Then,
well, they don't have to. It's very rare. I'm trying to think of the guys. 2 guys are in the Hall of Fame that I can think of now. It's Kevin Garnett and Dwight Howard. He's going in this year. Went from high school.
Kobe and LeBron.
Kobe. Man, forgetting him.
Hey, Tim, before we go, your thoughts on while you were gone, Tree and I were kind of just putting the what OKC did in perspective. Your thoughts on what they did this year?
Nothing short of miraculous, but it was coming. And while you were gone, I was talking about how
I was still there. You guys keep leaving me.
A core of young players that are signed, and because of past trades, they have a handful of first and second round. Well, a handful of great draft picks because it's only 2 rounds in the NBA. They got a bunch of draft pick capital where they can really, put together some deals and get some things done if they so choose. It's really wild that 3 days after the draft, you're thinking about your how you're going to construct your roster for next year, and that's what they're doing. It's not like my team's been sitting around for a month and a half, waiting for something to happen. But with OKC, they got some decisions to make, and it doesn't seem like they ever make a wrong decision, ever.
Yeah.
They do everything.
No.
Yeah. They can go do what they want. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to the city of Oklahoma City.
Yeah, absolutely.
3 years ago they won 24 games, and now they are NBA champs. So, and hats off to the Pacers too, man. They were the fourth seed. They beat Cleveland, the number 1 seed. They beat Milwaukee. They
beat the Knicks.
Beat the Knicks. So
that's a tough road to go right there. That's a tough. The Knicks. I don't know if any of those teams were full strength. but so be it. You play with what you got.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
Griffin was hurt, and with Cleveland, the Knicks were banged up with some people. Still, and you come through.
Now they know how it feels because now they lost their guy,
Right.
in the biggest game of all.
Yeah.
But hey, we're going to get out of here. We'll try to get Mac back. He was really. I talked to him earlier. He's got a lot of things he wanted to share about the series and the league, but we'll get him back. Before we go, quick shout out to the family of Joe Bird, legendary boxing trainer from Flint, Michigan, passed away 89. Joe, wonderful man, was the boxing coach of the 1992 USA Olympic boxing team. So a great man and a great life. So our condolences to the Bird family. For Tree McDougal and Tim Turner, I'm Rickey Hampton. Have a great evening, everybody.
All right. Be kind, everybody.